Hello, in this video I'm going to go over the Velidreth monster set that you can obtain from completing Veteran Cradle of Shadows. Um, so let's get into it. If you don't know where the Cradle of Shadows dungeon is geographically, in the Ebonheart Pact portion of the map here, which is on the eastern side of the map, you're going to need to go to Shadowfen, and then Cradle of Shadows is the middle dungeon. There are 3 total dungeons here, and Cradle of Shadows is the center one here. So if you want to walk into the dungeon for some reason, you'll need to go to the Stillrise Wayshrine and walk southwest of that, and you'll be able to get to that dungeon. You'll likely need to take this little trail here that's leading to the dungeon because I think this terrain right here is kind of mountainous and you might not be able to get there if you were to go straight this way from the Wayshrine. So how to obtain the helm, just as always with any other monster helm, you need to complete the dungeon on veteran difficulty, and then the monster helm will drop when you defeat the last boss in the dungeon. You will get one of these weights, either light, medium, or heavy in a certain trait. And then the shoulders are, as always, sold from the Undaunted vendor at the encampment there. This is a DLC dungeon, so you will need to purchase that from the Orc DLC NPC. If those options are not feasible to you, or you don't want to run the dungeon or don't have keys, then you can keep an eye on the Cyrodiil gold vendor that pops up on the weekends and populates a rotating inventory. So you will have to check that every weekend because it does change every weekend. So there is a chance that the shoulders or the helm could be available there. Just keep an eye on that if that's something that you want to do. So let's get into what this helm does, how you proc it, and all that. This is a DPS helmet based on looking at essentially what it does. The one piece gives you weapon damage, and the 2-piece does damage in disease damage. Now, this doesn't specify any application of status effect or any debuff such as a Defile. But if you were to proc a status effect of disease damage, then we can check and see here by going into the help and the tutorial and the combat section of the menu here, which is towards the bottom. And then you go to status effects, and then the disease damage is towards the bottom here. So if you were to apply the disease status effect, you're going to get an extra instant damage proc there, and it will apply minor defile to the enemy. In PvE, that debuff there, minor defile, is pretty much useless because for the most part, PvE monsters do not heal themselves, and they generally don't have a damage shield. If they do get one, it's basically essentially part of a mechanic of some kind, and that you are meant to kind of wait or break through that. So in most cases, Defile is not really beneficial in PvE. But let's go into what the actual helm does when it's golded out. Just to show you the damage that's on here does not benefit from gold. Only your one piece, your glyph, and your mundus will benefit from golding it out. Um, so that doesn't change. However, if you do buff up your weapon and spell damage in some way, such as brutality and sorcery here, then you can get an increase in damage there. As you can see, it goes up to 10,873. So that does scale with weapon damage. However, the increasing the potency of this does not scale it. So how do you proc this? Basically, this is a very easy monster helm to proc because it procs on any type of damage that you deal. And because of that, it does have a 20% chance of spawning the disease spores. So you'll get 3 disease spores that spawn after 1 second that deal disease damage to any enemy that they hit, and then that effect can occur once every 8 seconds. So there is a cooldown of 8 seconds once you do activate the set. So just to give you an idea what this looks like, I'll hit the group of dummies here just to kind of show you what kind of expansion you can get on this to hit multiple targets. You basically just have to wait until you see there's the green glow, and then there's the spores that go through and hit all the dummies there. And so once I have 8 seconds passed, I can reproc the set here. Here it comes this way, and you can see the spores go for quite a distance. I would say it's probably about 30 meters that it goes out. So typically this set is can be very useful in PvP because it does have a pretty decent distance on it. And disease and minor defile can be pretty effective in PvP. Because you can't rely on it to proc at a certain time, I would say it's probably not as reliable as some other things where you can definitively proc it with a specific action. You're dealing on the chance that you're going to have it activate, and there is a 1 second delay. So essentially people can see you start glowing with the green right like that, and then they could move out of the way pretty easily. And especially if they're from any kind of a distance, as you can see, the spore balls kind of spread out pretty quickly there, and so there is a pretty decent gap to avoid it if you're using that in PvP. But I just wanted to do a quick video on this to display a possible monster set that you could use, possibly in Overland, or just to have fun with something that's got a visual aspect to it. Not commenting on this being any way, shape, or form being optimal for veteran dungeons or trials. Just doing a showcase of the set basically, and showing you guys what it looks like and all that. If you thought this video was helpful or interesting, please check out my YouTube channel. Consider liking and subscribing to my channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, go down to my created playlist. That's where all of my YouTube content is for the Elder Scrolls Online. I've got it organized by subject there, and I have several videos regarding this game on there. I would like to highlight a specific playlist on there, my ESO songs. Those are all songs that I have written the lyrics to and created some imagery. They are all lyric videos for the most part. Some of the early ones don't have lyrics on the screen, as I was still kind of learning how to do everything at that point. But for the most part, they are all lyric videos. So if you want to check those out, they're about the game, and there should be several different ones there that are appealing. They're fun to listen to. Listen to them while you're playing the game, and that would be my suggestion. They're pretty catchy, and they're not just instrumental or anything. They're actually different genres of songs. So check them out, see if you like them. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.